Imagine you're living a seemingly ordinary life, but beneath the surface lie secrets that could change everything. Are you ready to dive into this story and uncover lessons for your own life? Let's begin. The scent of engine oil filled Thompson's trusted auto care as Michael Thompson worked on the transmission of a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado. His calloused hands moved deftly through the familiar parts. The shop sat on Chicago's outskirts, tucked between the affluent neighborhoods of Lincoln Park and the working-class areas of Englewood, where a diverse clientele came and went without drawing attention. A metallic clatter echoed on the concrete floor. "Damn," Ethan Carter muttered, picking up the dropped wrench. The young man's face flushed as he glanced at Michael. "Watch the tools, kid," Michael grumbled without looking up from the transmission. Despite his gruff tone, he'd grown fond of Ethan over the past year. The 26-year-old had a keen eye for detail that set him apart from other mechanics. "Sorry, boss." Ethan wiped the wrench and approached Michael's workstation. "Got the diagnostic report on that BMW X5, something odd with the brake rotors." This piqued Michael's interest. He wiped his hands on a rag and took the tablet from Ethan. "Odd how?" "See these wear patterns?" Ethan pointed to the digital images. "They're inconsistent with normal use, almost like someone intentionally scored them for gradual failure." Michael zoomed in his face, neutral, despite the internal alarms. "Good catch. Order new rotors and document everything. I want detailed photos before and after replacement." The heavy steel door to the office swung open, and Sarah Jennings strode into the garage. Her silver hair was tied in a tight bun, and her posture reflected her military background even after 7 years in civilian life. The former Navy logistics officer managed the front office with precision that would make her old commanders proud. "Michael," she called, her voice carrying across the space. "Your wife's here. Mr. Blackwood's with her." Michael's fingers tightened slightly on the wrench, though it didn't show. Alexander Blackwood had become a more frequent visitor over the past 6 months, always with some convenient excuse tied to insurance or real estate deals with Emily. The click of high heels announced their arrival before Michael saw them. Emily Thompson entered first, her designer suit and styled hair contrasting the garage's grime. At 35, she commanded attention effortlessly, though lately her stride seemed forced. Behind her, Alexander Blackwood followed with his ever-present tablet, his tailored suit likely worth more than most tools in the shop, and his smile fixed like a mask. "Darling," Emily called, her voice with a slight tremor most wouldn't notice. "We need to discuss updating your life insurance policy. The shop's doing well, and Alexander thinks we should increase the coverage." Michael noted the subtle details, how she stood closer to Alexander than needed, her fingers twisting her wedding ring, the faint flush when Alexander's hand brushed her arm as he opened documents on his tablet. "Of course," Michael replied, maintaining his simple mechanic persona. He gestured to his oil-stained overalls. "Let me clean up first. Don't want to mess your nice clothes." While washing his hands in the grimy sink, Michael's mind cataloged Emily's recent changes, late client meetings, new outfits, sudden interest in his insurance. 7 years of marriage, and she'd never questioned their finances before Alexander Blackwood entered their lives. "The preliminary numbers look solid," Alexander was saying when Michael returned. "With the shop's growth, we can justify tripling the coverage. The monthly premium hike would be minimal." Michael observed how Alexander's eyes avoided him, always shifting to Emily. "Sounds like a lot of cash," he said, scratching his head in feigned confusion. "Business is good, but not that good." "Don't worry about the details," Emily interjected quickly. "Alexander knows his stuff. He's helped so many of my real estate clients with insurance." "I'm sure he has," Michael muttered, signing where indicated. He watched Alexander's hand rest on Emily's lower back as they left, the touch lingering longer than professional. Ethan appeared at his shoulder, voice low. "Boss, about those brake rotors, there's more you should see." In the back of the shop, Ethan pulled up detailed images on his tablet. "The scoring isn't random. There's a pattern suggesting the saboteur knew exactly what they were doing." Michael studied them while processing the implications. Someone had deliberately tampered with a client's vehicle, and his youngest employee had spotted it. Either Ethan was sharper than credited, or he knew what to look for. "Keep this between us," Michael instructed. "Handle all incoming vehicle diagnostics yourself. Note anything unusual, no matter how minor." The afternoon blurred with oil changes and tune-ups. David Fletcher, Michael's most seasoned mechanic, worked quietly on a Jeep Wrangler, pausing occasionally for phone calls outside. Each return, his eyes scanned the shop before resuming. At closing, Sarah lingered in Michael's office doorway. "Interesting day," she remarked neutrally. "Mr. Blackwood seems invested in the shop's success." "So it seems," Michael replied, not looking up from paperwork. "My old CO used to say if it seems too good to be true, it usually is." Sarah's words hung in the air. "Have a good night, Michael." After everyone left, Michael stayed in his office reviewing hidden monitor security footage. He watched David return an hour after closing, inspecting vehicles suspiciously. He observed Ethan photographing more than just rotors throughout the day. His burner phone vibrated with a text from a number unseen in 7 years. James Harlan's message was brief. "Ghost from Prague plus Siberian wolves hunting. Network compromised. Trust no one." Michael leaned back, memories of Prague flooding and the botched mission eliminating colleagues upon discovering their true loyalties. The Siberian wolves had infiltrated deeper than suspected, forcing him to vanish into this crafted life. Now they'd found him, and worse, turned his wife against him. But they'd made a fatal error, assuming he was just a retired operative behind a mundane facade. They didn't realize Thompson's trusted auto care was built for this, from location to staff to tools that could become weapons in seconds. In his basement workshop, Michael accessed his real security system cameras across the shop and home, revealing full surveillance. He viewed footage of Emily meeting Alexander at a cafe, their body language intimate and scheming. He watched David's late inspections, noting focus on areas where an operative might hide gear or documents. The pieces aligned brutally. David's arrival 2 months before Alexander Emily's insurance interest, the tampered rotors, perhaps a test for his planned accident. Michael pulled his private database, cross-checking David's background against known Siberian Wolves operatives. Facial recognition ran overnight, comparing features against years of intel. By dawn, he had answers. David Fletcher was a ghost, a fabricated identity with enough history to pass casual checks. But ghosts leave traces, and Michael had prepared for 7 years. He activated dormant protocols, sending encrypted messages to waiting contacts. Within hours, surveillance photos arrived: Alexander with known Russian agents, David receiving diplomatic pouches, Emily entering hotels matching Alexander's schedule. The trap was closing not on him. They thought they hunted a softened retiree. Instead, they'd entered a predator's den, 7 years in the sharpening. Michael smiled as he cleaned tools, each multi-purpose. The time for cover was ending. They'd learn why he hid in plain sight, surrounded by gear that could turn arsenal instantly. The Siberian wolves hunted him, but forgot Prague's key lesson: sometimes the prey is the apex predator, and Michael Thompson intended no mercy for betrayers. The basement workshop hummed with machinery as Michael disassembled a vintage Harley-Davidson engine. To any observer via his placed cameras, he seemed engrossed in a hobby. In reality, his focus was on hidden wall monitors, showing property angles, shop exterior, main garage, home entrances, all under constant watch. 7 years had built a security web, envying intelligence agencies. His burner phone buzzed again, another from James Harlan, confirming Marcus Hale in Chicago. "Watch your back." Michael's jaw clenched. Marcus Hale's presence changed everything. The man was a legend in wet work, making high-profile targets vanish tracelessly. If the Siberian wolves brought him, they aimed for elimination, not exposure. Motion on a monitor caught his eye. David Fletcher returned past midnight. Michael switched to interior cameras, watching the senior mechanic navigate darkness with ease. David's actions were methodical, professional, examining spots for cached weapons or documents. His movements suggested military training, not a lifelong mechanic's casual familiarity. "Looking in the wrong places, old friend," Michael muttered as David bypassed hidden compartments without notice. The system pinged back, lot motion sensors activated. 2 figures approached from different directions, using shadows for cover. Their moves were coordinated, not local thieves. Michael pulled thermal imaging. Figures carried compact submachine guns, by heat signatures military grade. His phone vibrated. Garage compromised, exit now. The warning from a dormant contact triggered by approaching surveillance. But Michael had no plans to flee. His fingers flew over a hidden keyboard, activating protocols. The shop's exterior lights flared, flooding the lot with harsh light. The armed men scattered, their approach disrupted. Through cameras, Michael saw David's reaction, no surprise at the visitors. Instead, he positioned for clear fire lines to entrances. "Amateur," Michael noted. David had placed himself ideally for a normal building, but Thompson's trusted auto care had layered defenses and he'd just trapped himself in a kill box. Metallic clicks echoed as hidden mechanisms engaged. Steel shutters slammed over windows and doors sealing the building. Ventilation switched to internal recycling blocking gas. David's reaction confirmed suspicions. He instantly grasped the tactical implications. His hand went to his waistband, drawing a concealed pistol efficiently. "Boss," David called, voice steady. "We need to talk." Michael activated the internal speakers. "About Prague, David. Or should I call you Victor?" The name struck like a blow. David's composure cracked briefly, revealing the killer beneath the mechanic mask. "How long have you known?" David's eyes scanned shadows from Michael's location. "Long enough to wonder why the Siberian Wolves would send one of their top operatives to play mechanic in a small shop." Michael's voice echoed from multiple speakers, impossible to pinpoint. "The brake rotor sabotage was sloppy. You're better than that." David's laugh lacked humor. "Had to test skills somehow. A real mechanic wouldn't spot those mods." "No, they wouldn't," Michael agreed. "Just like a real mechanic wouldn't disassemble engines with military precision over civilian methods." Outside, the armed men regrouped, thermals showing breaching charges prep. "Your backup's in for disappointment," Michael commented. "Those doors withstand shaped charges like the ones we used in Kosovo, remember?" David's expression shifted at Kosovo. "That op wasn't in my file. Because it wasn't official." Michael's voice hardened. "Just like Prague wasn't until you and your Siberian Wolves pals played both sides." The first explosion shook the building. Reinforced doors held, but the sound deafened in the enclosed space. David used the distraction to roll behind a tool cabinet. "You know why we're here, Michael?" David called. "The Prague files. Hand them over and this ends clean." "Nothing about Prague was clean." Michael's voice came from directly behind David. The senior mechanic spun weapon raised, but Michael had moved. Years of cover hadn't dulled his skills, they honed them. Daily car work kept his hands' strong movements precise. David fired twice, shots echoing loudly, but Michael wasn't there. He'd dropped and rolled, coming up with a modified wrench. The tool's true nature revealed as Michael thumbed a switch. The head detached on a high-tension cable, an improvised flail smashing David's gun hand with bone-crushing force. David adapted instantly, dropping the pistol and drawing a knife left-handed. The blade sliced air where Michael's throat had been. "Still favoring your left for close work," Michael noted, deflecting another strike. "Some habits die hard." Their fight moved through the shop, a deadly dance between pros, knowing each other's styles. David's knife sliced Michael's sleeve, drawing blood. Michael's flail cracked David's ribs in return. Another explosion rocked the building. The breaching team grew desperate, trying new entry points, but Michael had designed the shop as a fortress, each apparent weakness hiding a lethal surprise. "They won't get in," Michael said, circling his opponent. "Just like you won't get out, not until we finish what started in Prague." David's eyes narrowed. Prague was necessary. The intel networks were compromised. We did what had to be done. "You murdered loyal agents to cover tracks," Michael snarled. His next attack drove David back against a workbench. "Used their deaths to hide the wolves' infiltration, and you killed 3 of your own when they found out." David countered, blood staining his teeth. "Don't pretend your hands are clean." The reminder fueled Michael's next strike. The flail caught David's knee, shattering the joint. The senior mechanic went down hard, but threw his knife accurately. Michael twisted the blade, grazing his ribs instead of his heart. He absorbed the pain, using it to sharpen focus. In one fluid motion, he closed the distance, his fist connecting with David's jaw in crushing force. "The Prague files aren't here," Michael said, standing over his fallen foe. "They never were, but you've confirmed something more valuable." A final explosion rattled the windows. The breaching team had abandoned doors and was cutting the roof. They'd find it futile. "Your team out there," Michael continued. "They're not just for the files, are they? This is about Emily and Alexander's insurance scam." David spat blood on the concrete. "You know nothing." "I know enough." Michael's voice was cold. "I know my wife's been meeting your pal Alexander at the Golden Eagle Hotel every Tuesday. I know about the offshore accounts in Cayman and now the Siberian Wolves' involvement." Before David could respond, Michael's phone vibrated. A text from Ethan. "Police scanner shows units responding to explosion reports. 3 minutes. Michael smiled without warmth. "Your backup's about to have company, but don't worry, by the time they arrive, there won't be evidence of them or you." David's eyes widened as Michael reached for a nearby tool chest. "You won't kill me. You need me alive for the wolves' plans." "No," Michael replied, pulling out what looked like a simple socket wrench. "I already know their plans. What I need is to send a message." The wrench hissed as Michael twisted its handle, releasing a fine mist. David realized too late. His eyes rolled back as the fast-acting sedative took effect. By police arrival, they found an empty shop with a malfunctioning security system. David Fletcher was gone along with any trace of the night's events. The only disturbance was a small bloodstain on the floor, impossible to match to any DNA database. Wednesday afternoon's sun beat down on Thompson's trusted auto care as Michael closed for inventory. The closed sign provided perfect cover for his real intent, analyzing intel gathered over the past week. His enhanced security had yielded dividends. Hidden cameras had captured not just David's nocturnal activities, but dozens of supposedly private conversations, including ones that chilled his blood. In his basement command center, Michael reviewed footage again, Emily and Alexander standing too close in the shop's lot, voices picked up by directional mics. "You sure he suspects nothing?" Alexander's hand rested possessively on Emily's waist. "Michael's completely clueless," she replied, leaning in. "He trusts me fully. That's what makes this perfect." Another clip from 3 days ago, caught by the mini camera in Emily's car, a Christmas gift with unsuspected purpose. "The Russians are getting impatient," Alexander said, accent slipping. "They want confirmation the shop isn't a front for his ops." "David's checked everything," Emily assured. "The basement workshop is just for his motorcycle hobby. No weapons, no evidence linking him to his past." Michael's jaw clenched, watching his wife of 7 years conspire with enemies. The betrayal went beyond infidelity. She'd become an active participant in his murder plot. His phone buzzed with a secure message from a reactivated contact. Alexander Blackwood's true identity confirmed: former GRU operative, now Siberian wolves specialist in compromising targets via family. 3 prior successful ops using similar insurance fraud. The pieces clicked with brutal finality. Alexander hadn't targeted Emily randomly. The wolves had located Michael months ago and sent their best manipulator to turn his wife. An alert flashed, someone remotely accessing the shop's computer system. Michael traced it to a familiar IP, Ethan Carter breaching digital defenses from his apartment across town. Instead of blocking Michael, allowed limited access. He watched Ethan navigate expertly, focusing on financials and client databases. "Interesting skills for a mechanic," Michael muttered, recording the pattern. Either Ethan was another plant or the young man had hidden depths. The next clip made him pause. Emily in her real estate office after hours with Victoria Lang, her closest friend and fellow agent. "Once the Russian hitmen handle him, the insurance money's ours," Emily said, voice trembling with excitement and fear. "They're already watching his shop." Victoria's response was cool, professional. "And you're sure David confirmed the basement workshop is clean? No weapons or evidence to complicate things?" "He checked thoroughly. Michael will be totally helpless when they come." Michael leaned back, processing. Victoria's involvement suggested the conspiracy extended beyond Alexander and the wolves. How many seemingly innocent people in their lives were part of this web? His system pinged again. Someone entering the shop using David's code, one that should have been deactivated days ago. Switching to live feeds, Michael watched Ethan move through the darkened building, purposefully heading to David's workstation. The young mechanic's actions were precise, professional. He accessed a hidden compartment in David's toolbox, easily retrieving a small package. Michael zoomed in. The package held surveillance photos of him entering and leaving locations over the past month. But more intriguing was what Ethan did next. Instead of pocketing them, he photographed them with his phone fingers flying as he sent the images somewhere. A new message appeared on Michael's secure phone: package recovered from David's cache, sending surveillance proof. "They're closer than we thought. F." A cold smile crossed Michael's face. So that's who Ethan really was. James Harlan's eyes and ears planted to watch over him. The kid's detail orientation wasn't luck after all. The web of deception and counter-deception grew more intricate, hourly his wife and her friend plotting his death. David working for the Siberian wolves, Ethan reporting to his old handler, and somewhere out there, Russian hitmen preparing to strike. But they all shared a critical misconception, believing the basement workshop was mere hobby space, that Michael had grown soft in retirement. None knew about the false wall concealing his real command center, or that every shop tool was modified for lethal efficiency. Let them think him helpless. Let them believe their plan proceeded perfectly. Michael Thompson hadn't survived Prague by being predictable. When the time came, they'd learn why the most dangerous predator is the one you never see coming. Behind his workshop's false wall, surrounded by disguised weapons and monitors showing every angle of his compromised life, Michael began preparations for what lay ahead. The Siberian wolves thought they were setting a trap. Instead, they'd walked into one 7 years in the making. The real question wasn't if he'd survive their attack, but how many of them would survive his response. Rebecca Sinclair stared at her encrypted phone, reading the message she'd waited 7 years for Prague files compromised. In her corner office at Apex Insights, she moved efficiently, initiating dormant protocols. Within minutes, her systems accessed sealed databases and buried files, searching one name, Alexander Blackwood. The results painted a disturbing picture. "Damn," she muttered, cross-referencing data. Alexander Blackwood wasn't just linked to the Siberian wolves. He was Dmitry Volkov, their master manipulator. Her phone rang. "Rebecca?" She answered, skipping pleasantries. "Volkov's been busy. 3 ops in the past year. Detroit, Las Vegas, Miami. Same pattern. He seduces the spouse, arranges an accident, collects insurance. Send everything." Michael's voice was hard, emotionless. "Done. But there's more." Rebecca pulled another file. "I've identified unusual transfers between his insurance agency and several real estate firms in Chicago." "Victoria Lang, your wife's friend. Too convenient." Rebecca's fingers flew over her keyboard. "I'll dig deeper into her connections, but Michael, these ops aren't just eliminating targets. They're building something. Each accident creates business opportunities, insurance payouts, property sales, new investments. The wolves are establishing a legitimate network using grieving spouses as fronts." Michael's tone could freeze fire. "Clean, profitable, nearly untraceable. There's something else." Rebecca hesitated. "David Fletcher, he's a ghost." "I know. Not just any ghost. Facial match to a wolves operative from Prague, Victor Hale." The line went silent. Rebecca felt the chill through the phone. "Marcus's brother," Michael said finally. "Yes, the one who escaped when you eliminated the compromised team." Michael's voice held no emotion. "How long has he been watching me?" "Records suggest he built his cover identity 2 years ago. Started as a mechanic in California, worked his way up. Very thorough patient professional." A pause. "Like his brother Michael." Rebecca chose her words carefully. "If Victor's involved, Marcus won't be far. I need you to keep digging. Find everything on Volkov's network, money trails, properties, shell companies. And Rebecca, watch your back. If they found me, they might know about other support assets." She finished. "Already doubled my security team and implementing Protocol 7. "Good. I'll contact via usual channels after." After hanging, Rebecca activated her final safeguard, a dead man's switch releasing files to multiple agencies if she missed check-in. The Siberian wolves had played this game too long, ruining lives and building empires on ashes. Across town, Sarah Jennings, in her modest apartment, reviewed notes on David Fletcher, 23 pages of observations, inconsistencies, gut feelings collected over months. "His military experience feels off," she muttered, underlining a passage. "His knowledge was textbook perfect, but lacked the informal shortcuts real vets used." She'd tested him, subtly dropping base and op references, watching microsecond hesitations before responses. Her phone buzzed with a text from Michael. "Need your eyes. Watch the shop tonight." Sarah smiled grimly. Finally, she'd known from day one Thompson's trusted auto care wasn't just repairs. Her Navy logistics time taught spotting covers and safe houses, but also when to look away and which secrets to keep. She grabbed binoculars and settled for a long night. From her apartment vantage, she had a clear view of the shop's back entrance. At midnight, movement caught her eye. David's familiar figure approached movements, fluid, professional, alert, different from his daytime persona. Sarah documented everything. Entry time tools carried movement patterns. When he left 2 hours later, she noted how he swept for surveillance before departing. "Amateur," she scoffed. He checked everywhere but up. Her report to Michael was concise. Subject: shows level 3 tactical awareness, missed elevated positions and standard counter-surveillance protocols, suggests CIA training, not Delta. Meanwhile, Ethan Carter crouched behind a dumpster photographing David's phone screen as the senior mechanic made nightly calls. The zoom lens captured number strings, account details, timestamps, coordinates. Ethan transmitted images via secure channel to his father. James Harlan had positioned his son perfectly, using genuine mechanical skills as cover for a deeper mission, protecting the man who'd saved James's life in Prague. The pieces were moving players positioning for what was coming. None knew they played roles. Michael designed each a place sensor in his surveillance web. In his command center, Michael watched it unfold: Rebecca's intel, Sarah's observations, Ethan's photos, each adding to the puzzle. The Siberian wolves thought they were closing on a retired operative. Instead, they'd entered a predator's lair, 7 years in the sharpening. His phone buzzed with another message from Rebecca. Found something. Volkov meeting someone tonight, sending coordinates. Michael checked his weapons, each disguised as common tools, ready to transform from innocuous to lethal in seconds. Time to remind the wolves why they'd feared him in Prague. Friday evening, rain didn't deter the two men entering Thompson's trusted auto care just before closing. Their overalls were too clean for real mechanics' boots, showing no workplace wear. Car trouble? Michael asked from behind his workbench, noting their positioning, one by the door, one toward the center, professional spacing for a two-man hit team. Transmission issues, the first said, consulting a notepad. Making strange noises. I'm Alberto Wells. This is Neil Graves. Michael recognized Neil instantly. They'd crossed in Kosovo during an unofficial op. The scar on Neil's neck, usually hidden, was Michael's work. Pop the hood, Michael said, playing along. Let me check. Alberto moved to the back wall, seemingly examining tools but blocking the rear exit. Neil approached the fictional vehicle, right hand near his jacket. Kosovo was humid this time of year, Michael remarked casually, selecting a wrench. Neil's reaction was immediate. His hand went for his weapon, but Michael moved. The wrench revealed its nature as the head detached on a reinforced cable. The improvised flail shattered Neil's gun hand. Alberto rushed forward, combat knife in grip, but Michael had designed the shop for this. A hidden pedal under the workbench triggered floor pneumatics. Tools and equipment flew across the room, disrupting Alberto's charge. The knife meant for Michael's throat found its owner instead. Neil tried recovering, switching the gun to his left, but Michael was inside his guard. The fight was brutal, efficient. No wasted moves, no hesitation. When Neil's head hit concrete, Michael ensured he survived. Dead men don't answer questions. Let's talk about the Siberian wolves, Michael said, applying precise pressure to Neil's shattered hand, and why they're really here. Neil's defiance lasted exactly 4 minutes. Not just you, he gasped between screams. All of you, everyone from Prague, they're hunting all. Why now, after 7 years? The files. They found evidence of the original infiltration, names, dates, accounts, everything. Michael increased pressure. Safe house in Lincoln Park, high-end condo registered to West Peak Insurance, Alexander's company. Another puzzle piece clicked. Neil didn't survive questioning. His heart failed from stress. A shame, but Michael had what he needed. His phone buzzed, Rebecca calling. Got something, she said without preamble. Traced Volkov's pattern. He's done this before. 3 cities, 3 dead operatives. Same setup: seduce the spouse, arrange accident, use payout to establish new fronts for the wolves. Efficient? Michael noted, planning countermoves. The grieving spouse inherits a business that's really a wolves operation. There's more: found transfer patterns between Volkov's agency and a Cayman account. Holder Victoria Lang, Emily's friend, and apparently the wolves' regional finance manager. She's moving money through real estate deals, laundering funds via property sales. Michael's mind raced with implications. Send everything on the Cayman account. And Rebecca, thanks. Just don't die, she replied. I've got 7 years invested in keeping your exit strategy viable. After disconnecting, Michael surveyed his shop: 2 bodies to dispose, evidence to clean, message to send. The wolves needed to understand they weren't hunting prey. They faced a predator who'd outgrown their training. He activated cleanup protocols. Within hours, Alberto's body would be found in a botched drug deal across town. Neil would simply vanish, another ghost in a business that made them regularly. His security pinged Ethan's surveillance photos arriving. The young mechanic had accessed David's phone, revealing texts confirming the larger conspiracy. Boss, Ethan's message read. David's coordinating with someone named Marcus. Meeting scheduled for tomorrow. Marcus Hale. The final piece fell into place. The brother of the man who died in Prague was coming to finish what started. Let him come. Michael had spent 7 years building this fortress, designing every tool and fixture for dual purposes. The wolves thought they were closing for the kill. Instead, they were walking into a trap from their own playbook. His phone buzzed again, text from Emily. "Working late tonight. Don't wait up." Michael checked surveillance feeds. His wife was indeed working late, meeting Alexander in his office, no doubt finalizing his accident details. Let them plan. Let them think they had the upper hand. Soon they'd learn why the most dangerous predator waits patiently for the perfect strike. Michael's counterattack began with anonymous tips to Chicago PD's Financial Crimes Unit. Evidence of money laundering through Alexander's insurance agency appeared on secure servers, wire transfers, falsified claims patterns any competent investigator would spot. Similar evidence implicated Victoria's real estate deals. Bank records showed suspicious cash deposits just under reporting thresholds, inflated property sales to shell companies tracing to Eastern European investors. Within hours, both businesses faced sudden audits. Michael watched via his surveillance network as officials descended on Alexander's office. "This is ridiculous," Alexander blustered, accent slipping under stress. "Our records are perfect." "Perhaps," the lead investigator replied. "But we'll review everything, all files, transactions, client records." Michael's cameras caught Alexander's subtle eye twitch, betraying real fear. The man wasn't worried about the audit, but what else they might uncover. Meanwhile, Ethan proved his worth beyond expectation. His lunch break involved accessing David's private comms using skills no tech school taught. "Got something," Ethan reported via secure channel. "David's coordinating multiple cells. The wolves aren't just eliminating old enemies, they're establishing control points across the country." "Show me," Michael commanded. Ethan's data revealed an ambitious operation. Each eliminated operative created opportunity. Grieving spouses inherited businesses, becoming wolves' fronts. Insurance agencies, real estate firms, import-export companies, all legitimate on surface, all linking to Cayman accounts. "They're building infrastructure," Michael realized. "Using our deaths to fund expansion." But the operation's sophistication carried risk. More moving parts meant more failure points. More connections meant more exposure possibilities. Michael's next move targeted those vulnerabilities. Anonymous tips to journalists about irregular insurance claims, whispered suggestions of real estate fraud to ambitious prosecutors. Small pressures applied where they'd do most damage. The pressure yielded unexpected results. Emily, reviewing files in Victoria's office after hours, discovered something not meant for her: photos documenting prior accidents arranged for other targets. The images showed the truth behind Alexander's operation in brutal detail. Michael watched via security cameras as his wife's world unraveled, horror on her face as she realized what she'd been drawn into. Trembling hands trying to copy files. Then Alexander appeared, his charming mask finally dropping. The cameras captured everything. His threats, revelations about the syndicate's true nature, the moment he made clear she was trapped. "You think you can walk away?" Alexander's voice was cold through directional mics. "You're part of this now. The money you've moved, documents you've signed, you're implicated in everything." "I never agreed to murder," Emily protested. "You agreed the moment you let me into your bed," Alexander sneered. "Did you think this was love, escaping your boring life with a simple mechanic? You were chosen, groomed, positioned where we needed you." The cameras caught her realization how fully manipulated, how thoroughly compromised. Her collapse into a chair as Alexander detailed her burial depth insurance policies, property transfers, offshore accounts. "Your signatures are on everything. If we go down, you go down. If you run, you'll be found. If you talk." He left the threat unfinished. Michael watched it, all expression unchanged. Part of him wanted to intervene, burst in, and end Alexander's threats permanently. But that would ruin the larger op. Sometimes the most effective weapon is truth revealed at the right moment. His phone buzzed. Ethan again. "David's making his move. Found plans on his phone. He's planting evidence suggesting you're running drugs through the shop. Perfect. Let David play his hand." The trap was almost ready. Another message from Rebecca Marcus Hale confirmed in Chicago. 3-man team with him. They're not here for surveillance. The endgame approached: enemies committing trading caution for speed. They thought him cornered, isolated, vulnerable. They'd forgotten the first rule of hunting predators: when prey seems easiest, you're likely being led into a trap. Michael began final preparations, each shop tool designed for this moment, each security system calibrated to turn his business into a killing ground. The Siberian wolves thought they were closing for the kill. Instead, they'd learn why some predators let prey get close before striking. His phone buzzed one last-time message from James Harlan. Assets in position, contingencies ready, good hunting. Michael allowed a cold smile. Time to remind everyone why the most dangerous operative isn't the one who strikes first, but the one who strikes last. The news broadcasts flickered across Chicago's morning shows, breaking news local insurance executive linked to international crime syndicate. The report detailed Alexander Blackwood's past identities, complete with surveillance photos of him meeting known Russian operatives. In his command center, Michael watched the dominoes fall. Emily's phone buzzed constantly with messages from concerned clients and friends. She couldn't be eliminated quietly now, too many questions, too much attention. "Smart move," Ethan said, monitoring social media reactions. "They can't risk touching her with this publicity." "That's only phase 1, Michael replied, checking security feeds. "David will move soon. He knows his cover's blown." The prediction proved accurate. Within hours, David arrived for his shift carrying a leather tool bag mismatched to his usual gear. The shop scanners detected contents instantly, drugs and paraphernalia selected to suggest a long-standing distribution op. "He's heading for the storage room," Ethan reported from his station, "where we keep shipping manifests." "Perfect." Michael pulled up shop security controls. "Let's show him what happens to those who betray my trust." David made it 3 steps into the storage room before the trap activated. Hidden panels slid into place, sealing exits. Ventilation reversed, creating negative pressure. Any evidence he tried to plant would stay contained along with him. "Boss!" David's shout carried through cameras. "Doors jammed. Or maybe they're working as designed." Michael's voice came through room speakers. David's demeanor shifted instantly. Friendly mechanic persona vanished, replaced by cold professionalism. He drew a weapon from his tool bag, scanning corners for threats. "You know who I am?" David said, accent shifting. "What I represent. I know exactly who you are, Victor Hale, brother of Marcus, last survivor of the Prague team." Victor stiffened at his real name. "Then you know why I'm here. Revenge for your brother." Something else. The files perhaps proving how deep the Wolves' infiltration went. "Those files died in Prague. Or did I keep insurance? Your brother made that mistake, assuming I'd destroy valuable evidence." Victor's response was 3 precise shots at different speakers. Bullets sparked off reinforced covers designed for this scenario. "Amateur," Michael chided. "You're in my house now. This whole shop is my weapon." Hidden wall panels opened, revealing LED arrays. They strobed in complex patterns, disorienting but not random. Victor recognized the technique too late: neural disruption sequences inducing vertigo and confusion. "The drugs were sloppy," Michael continued as Victor struggled for balance. "You're better than that, but you're not really here to frame me, are you? This was just to get inside, confirm the workshop location." "Go to hell," Victor spat, fighting the strobing. "You first!" Gas hissed from concealed vents, not lethal, but formulated to enhance the light's disorientation. Victor tried resisting his training, but decades of conditioning worked against him. His body reacted automatically to the disruption, leaving him vulnerable. The door opened. Michael entered wearing a filter mask, moving with deadly purpose. Victor managed 2 wild shots before Michael closed the distance. The fight was brief but brutal. Victor's combat skills were impressive, but Michael had designed the room for close quarters. Each piece of equipment, each stored part positioned for tactical advantage to one who knew their true purpose. "Marcus is coming," Victor gasped as Michael pinned him. "He'll finish what—" "I'm counting on it." Michael's fist ended the conversation. When Victor regained consciousness, he found himself secured to a chair facing a video camera. "Now then," Michael said, checking restraints. "Let's discuss the Wolves' real operation, the one involving compromised spouses and insurance fraud across cities." "I won't talk." "You already have." Michael held up Victor's phone. "While you were out, Ethan accessed your comms. We know about the network you're building using grieving spouses for legitimate fronts. Quite clever." Victor's eyes widened slightly, the first crack in his professional mask. "But that's not the interesting part," Michael continued. "The interesting part is how many ops involved Victoria Lang handling finances, almost like she's more than Emily's friend. You don't understand what you're dealing with." "No, Victor, you don't. Prague wasn't just discovering the Wolves' infiltration, it was building a network to destroy them. 7 years preparing, waiting for you to make this exact move." A new voice joined. "He's right, Uncle Victor." Ethan stepped into view, his young face hard with controlled anger. "Remember Sarah Harlan?" Victor's confusion lasted a second. "James's boy, of course. He was always sentimental." "The woman your people killed was my mother." Ethan's voice could freeze fire. "Dad placed me here to watch over Michael, but I had my own reasons for exposing the wolves." "Family," Victor sneered. "Always a weakness." "No," Michael corrected. "Family makes us dangerous. Your brother's coming for revenge." "Fine. But remember, I taught Marcus everything he knows about killing tradecraft survival he learned from me." The interrogation lasted hours. By the end, they had confirmation of everything: the larger conspiracy, financial network identities of compromised operatives in other cities. Equally valuable was what Victor didn't know: no idea of Sarah's true role or Michael's preparation extent. The wolves thought they dealt with a retired operative. They never realized he'd spent 7 years building an army. The attack came at midnight. 3 teams, 12 operatives total, approaching from different angles. Professional, coordinated, just as Michael planned. Through command center monitors, he watched Marcus Hale lead personally. His former student had aged well, moving with the lethal grace Michael taught. "Teams in position," Ethan reported from his station. "Sarah's handled police response. Any calls will be diverted for at least 30 minutes. "Good." Michael checked weapons, each disguised as common tools, loaded and ready. "You know what to do." Ethan nodded grimly. "Emily's location secured. My team will ensure the cleanup crew never reaches her. Remember, no witnesses. The wolves die tonight. All of them." The first explosion hit the shop's front entrance, a tactical breaching charge designed to overwhelm security. In response, Michael's defenses activated automatically. Steel shutters dropped over windows. Reinforced doors sealed the entire building, locked down. "They're inside," Ethan announced unnecessarily as thermal imaging showed heat signatures spreading through the shop in standard search patterns. "Time to remind them why they feared me." Michael moved to his primary control station. "Execute pattern Delta." The shop's lights died, plunging the interior into total darkness. The attackers activated night vision exactly as expected. Moments later, hidden strobes pulsed in calculated patterns, turning their gear against them. Through cameras, Michael watched the first team stumble, enhanced vision backfiring. His counter was swift and merciless. Remote weapons targeted disoriented operatives with brutal efficiency. "Second team breaching the roof," Ethan reported. "Let them." Michael's smile lacked warmth. "That entry point's a kill box." The roof team learned too late their repelling lines triggered secondary systems, sophisticated machinery disguised as normal shop equipment. The resulting carnage was brief but absolute. Marcus's team proved more cautious, more professional, avoiding obvious routes, using thermals to detect traps. But Michael had trained their leader. He knew exactly how Marcus would think. "Boss," Ethan's voice urgent. "Incoming call from Emily." "Put her through." Emily's voice shook with fear. "He's here. He says he knows about the news leak. He's going to—" The line went dead. "Location," Michael demanded. "Signal traced to Victoria's office." Ethan's fingers flew over keys. "Team 2 is 3 minutes out." "No time. Maintain containment here. I'll handle it." "But Marcus will follow you." "That's the point." Michael activated the shop's final protocols, gas-flooded sections, herding Marcus's remaining team toward specific corridors, each path leading to prepared ambush points where automated systems would thin their numbers. "Sir," Sarah's voice through secure channel, "police diversion won't hold much longer. 10 minutes max." "Enough time. Keep the perimeter secure." Michael moved through his shop like a ghost, using passages not on blueprints, each step triggering preparations for the follow-up, setting up the endgame he'd planned for 7 years. Marcus's voice carried through the darkness. "I know you can hear me, teacher. You taught me too well to miss the signs. All this, the traps, ambushes, it's to draw me in, make it personal." "Everything's personal," Michael replied through hidden speakers. "Isn't that what I taught you? You taught me many things, like identifying true motives. This isn't about the wolves or their network. It's about Prague, about choices made. Choices your brother forced when he betrayed us." Marcus's laugh was bitter. "We uncovered corruption at the highest levels. FBI, NSA, CIA, all compromised. Victor tried showing you proof. Instead, you killed our team and buried it." "Wrong. I killed them because they were the corruption. The wolves didn't just infiltrate agencies, they turned our own team, your brother included." The final confrontation unfolded in Michael's secret workshop. Marcus breached the false wall, expecting his former mentor vulnerable. Instead, he found a space designed for this moment, tools transforming into weapons lining walls, motorcycle parts concealing automated defenses, each workbench providing tactical cover while hiding deadly surprises. "Still hiding behind machines?" Marcus taunted, moving with professional caution. "No," Michael stepped into view. "Just ensuring we end this properly." The battle that followed became legendary in certain circles. Teacher versus student, each knowing the other's moves, each having spent years preparing. Marcus's youth and speed against Michael's experience and preparation. Blood flowed as blades found flesh bones cracked under precise strikes, each man landing hits that would kill lesser opponents. "You taught me everything I know," Marcus spat through bloody teeth as they grappled. "No," Michael replied, grip tightening. "I taught you everything you could understand. There's a difference." The end came not with a killing blow, but a simple click. Marcus's stance shifted slightly, triggering a missed pressure plate hidden mechanisms activated in the student's final lesson. The aftermath unfolded over weeks. Evidence from David and Alexander exposed the entire Siberian Wolves network bank records, comm logs, surveillance photos, everything needed to dismantle it completely. Victoria Lang, facing overwhelming evidence and no Russian handler support, turned state's witness. Her testimony revealed how thoroughly the organization infiltrated legitimate businesses using unwitting compromised spouses as fronts. Emily left Chicago 2 weeks after the incident at Victoria's office, her departure quiet, dignified, marked by understanding rather than recrimination. The divorce papers arrived with a simple note: "I'm sorry I couldn't handle your truth." The shop remained open, though transformed. Ethan stepped into management, proving as skilled at running a legitimate business as covert ops. His father, James Harlan, visited occasionally, proud of his son carrying on the service tradition. Sarah's security clearance was reinstated, allowing coordination with intelligence agencies. Under her oversight, Thompson's trusted auto care became something new, a safe house and info hub for legitimate ops while maintaining its successful repair cover. Their first major test came 3 months later. Intel suggested another Wolves operation targeting a mechanic in San Francisco, another operative hiding in plain sight. "They never learn," Ethan commented, reviewing the intel. "Still using the same playbook." "Why change what works?" Sarah replied, updating security protocols. "Except now we know their methods. We can stop them before they start." The San Francisco op proved perfect validation of their new model target. Warned Wolves agents identified and neutralized, all without compromising covers. Michael watched from his rebuilt workshop, proud of how his protégés adapted. Sometimes he reflected the best way to protect something isn't to hide it, but to surround it with layers of truth and loyalty. They still fixed cars that never changed, but now they handled other problems too, the kind requiring special tools, careful planning, and absolute discretion. After all, every good mechanic knows maintenance prevents catastrophic failure, and sometimes maintenance means eliminating threats before they cause damage. The shop's new sign said it best: "Thompson's trusted auto care, we fix everything." Everything indeed. 5 years later, Thompson's trusted auto care had grown. What started as a single shop on Chicago's outskirts expanded into a network of 5 locations across the western United States. Each maintained the same cover, high-end auto repair shops serving wealthy and working-class customers alike, each serving as a hub for something far more important. Michael Thompson sat in his upgraded command center beneath the original Chicago location, monitoring feeds from all 5 shops. The screens showed normal operations mechanics working on vehicles, customers discussing repairs, daily routines appearing fully legitimate to any observer. "Seattle hub reporting another intercept." Ethan's voice came through secure channel. Now 31, James Harlan's son had evolved from promising operative to skilled coordinator, managing the network's West Coast ops. "Details," Michael asked, pulling up relevant feeds. Similar pattern to the Vienna op, Russian-backed syndicate attempting infrastructure through compromised businesses. They're learning from the Wolves playbook, but not the key lessons. Michael switched to a screen showing surveillance photos of suspected syndicate members. After dismantling the Siberian Wolves, they'd discovered dozens of similar ops, worldwide criminal organizations, building legitimate fronts through coerced or compromised professionals. The repair shop network had evolved to identify and prevent these takeovers before success. An alert flashed priority message from Rebecca Sinclair. Her private intel firm had become their primary analysis hub, processing data from multiple sources to spot emerging threats. Found something interesting. Rebecca's face appeared on secure video. Years had added subtle lines around her eyes, but her mind remained razor sharp. Remember our friends from Cayman Victoria's old contacts? The same. They're active again, but with a twist. Instead of insurance agencies targeting tech startups, using venture capital firms as fronts. Michael pulled relevant files. After turning state's witness, Victoria had provided crucial intel on the Wolves' financial network. Her Cayman contacts went dark, presumed destroyed with the organization. Their reemergence suggested something survived. Location mainly San Francisco, but seeing similar patterns in Austin and Boston. They're adapting using modern tech to hide traditional tradecraft. Send everything to Ethan's team. I want full surveillance on any venture firm showing suspicious investment patterns. Another screen showed Sarah Jennings conducting a briefing at their Las Vegas facility. Her role had expanded beyond office management, now training new operatives in maintaining covers and identifying threats. Her military background was perfect for teaching how to hide in plain sight. Terminal approach vectors, she explained to attentive students. Anyone compromising a target follows predictable patterns. Learn to spot them. You prevent the attack before it begins. The Vegas shop was Ethan's idea. Perfect cover for intel gathering. No one questions heavy cash transactions or odd hours in a city that never sleeps. Plus, its central location ideal for coordinating Western ops. A private alert drew Michael's attention. Motion sensors activated in a supposedly vacant office above their Portland facility. He switched feeds, tension easing when recognizing the visitor, James Harlan, standing at the window gazing at the city. At 70, he moved slower but remained sharp. After the Wolves op, he'd officially retired from Intel. Unofficially, he advised their growing network. Thinking about Sarah? Michael asked through the office's secure comm. James's smile was sad but proud. Ethan's doing good work. She'd approve. She'd be proud of him. Like father, like son, James chuckled, though he got his mother's brains, thank God. A different alert appeared, one from civilian cover-ops. The Chicago shop's customer service line showed an incoming call. Michael recognized the number instantly. Hello, Emily, he answered, voice neutral. Michael, his ex-wife's tone professional but not cold. I'm in Chicago for a real estate conference. Thought you should know. After divorce, Emily moved to California, building a new life far from betrayal memories. They maintained minimal contact, professional courtesy over friendship. Appreciate it. Any concerns? No active threats. She understood the real question. After her Alexander experience, Emily developed a keen eye for manipulation attempts. She occasionally warned about suspicious approaches to her real estate business. Just didn't want to surprise you. Stay safe. He ended the call, noting how time had smoothed that wound's sharp edges. A message from Ethan drew attention back. Got movement on the Seattle situation. Target's brother contacted our people. Ready to move when you give the word. Michael checked the broader tactical picture. 5 years of evolution, refined methods. Instead of reacting to threats, they now identified and neutralized at earliest stages. Prevention over confrontation, though, maintaining direct action capability when needed. Coordinate with Rebecca's team, he instructed. I want the entire financial network mapped before we move. No loose ends this time. Already on it. Sarah's sending 2 of her graduates to assist. You should see their profiles. Remind me of how Ethan started. Michael reviewed files, young, skilled, and crucially able to blend perfectly with civilian life, the next generation of operatives trained to spot and prevent the manipulation that nearly destroyed him. A subtle alert indicated movement in the Chicago shop's customer parking lot, specifically David's old spot. After his disappearance, they'd kept it as a sort of memorial, a reminder of how betrayal hides behind trusted faces. The shop's external cameras showed a familiar car, Marcus Hale's personal vehicle, now driven by his teenage daughter. After her father's death, she'd been adopted by relatives in Colorado. Michael ensured discreet monitoring, watching for signs she discovered her father's true history. So far, she remained innocent of her family's darker legacy, even bringing her car to Thompson's trusted auto care for regular maintenance, never suspecting the truth about her father's death or Uncle Victor's disappearance. Some debts, Michael murmured, don't pass to the next generation. His phone buzzed. Another message from Rebecca. Found something in the venture capital data pattern matches Alexander's old methodology. Someone's teaching new players his techniques. Michael's expression hardened. Even dead Alexander Blackwood's poison spread his manipulation methods. Techniques for compromising targets through personal relationships, these had become a playbook for modern criminal enterprises. "Flag any op showing those signatures," he instructed. "Priority surveillance on their targets." The command center's main screen filled with data surveillance feeds, financial transactions, comm intercepts, each piece. A potential threat, a possible attempt to rebuild what the Wolves lost 5 years ago. They destroyed an organization. Now they prevented new ones from rising, identifying and neutralizing threats before they could take root. Ethan's voice broke his thoughts. "Got confirmation from Seattle. Dr. Chen's brother is secure. Syndicate members identified. Local authorities standing by. Your call." Michael checked tactical feeds one final time. The Seattle op was clean, contained no civilian casualty risk. Perfect conditions for their preferred approach. "Execute," he commanded. "Standard protocol. Make it look like routine law enforcement. No connections to us." "Understood. Team's moving now." Through multiple cameras, Michael watched the op unfold. Police raids on syndicate safe houses, anonymous tips leading to evidence caches. Financial records mysteriously appearing in regulatory databases. By morning, the entire op would be dismantled, members arrested on fully legitimate charges. The victims, Dr. Chen and her brother, would never know how close they'd come to compromise, never realize a network of auto repair shops had saved them from a fate like Emily's. "Like father, like son indeed," Michael murmured, watching Ethan coordinate final phases. James had trained his boy well, teaching balance of necessity with mercy to prevent threats without becoming what they fought. A final message appeared, automated alert from pattern recognition software. Similar ops identified in multiple cities: Atlanta, Denver, Phoenix. Different players, but same techniques. The Wolves might be gone, but their methods lived on. Time to expand again, Michael decided, pulling up maps of potential new locations. Each shop would need the right mix of legitimacy and tactical advantage, each requiring carefully selected staff for both repair ops and intel work. The original Chicago location hummed with activity above his command center. Regular customers bringing vehicles for fixes, never suspecting their trusted mechanics, also fixed something more valuable: the lives of people targeted by modern predators. Sarah's voice came through. "Calm, new class graduates next week, 20 operatives ready for field placement. Recommendations: send profiles to Ethan. Let him assign based on emerging patterns. Priority to areas showing increased threat activity." The years had taught valuable lessons. No more lone operatives maintaining cover alone. No more isolated targets vulnerable to manipulation. Their network provided protective layers, each shop a fortress hidden behind honest business facade. A message from James appeared. "Sarah would be proud of all this, not just Ethan, but what you've built, how many you've helped." Michael allowed a moment of reflection. 5 years ago, he'd been a lone operative hiding from his past. Now he commanded a network dedicated to preventing similar threats for others. The shop that had been his cover became far more a shield, protecting innocent lives from hidden predators. Status report he commanded, bringing up main tactical display. All locations. The screen filled with data. Chicago primary hub operational. 3 potential threats identified and contained this month. Cover business up 15%. Seattle op successful target secured, threat neutralized. 2 new potential cases under investigation. Las Vegas training facility at capacity. Next class scheduled for deployment in 3 weeks. Portland surveillance network expanded to cover emerging tech sector. 3 suspicious investment patterns flagged for investigation. San Francisco new facility construction on schedule. Cover business licenses approved. Operational status expected within 60 days. 5 locations, each multi-purpose legitimate businesses providing real services while concealing a vital mission, a protective network built on past betrayal lessons. The auto shop's front door chimed a new customer entering with their vehicle for repair. Above, mechanics continued normal routines. Below, operatives monitored threats and coordinated responses. Just another day at Thompson's Trusted Auto Care, where they fixed cars' lives and the hidden dangers threatening both. After all, as Michael had learned, the best way to prevent catastrophic failure is constant maintenance, and sometimes that means watching for the smallest trouble signs before they grow into real threats. The network would continue to grow, adapt and protect, because in the end, that's what good mechanics do: keep things running smoothly, preventing problems before they cause damage, and Michael Thompson remained what he'd always been, a mechanic fixing things others couldn't even see were broken. Only now he wasn't working alone. He had a family of sorts, a network of trusted operatives sharing his mission. The command center screens showed it all, a legacy from Betrayal's ashes, a shield forged from past lessons. Each location, a fortress, each operative, a guardian, all hidden behind honest work. Just another day at the shop, just another day ensuring civilization's engine ran smoothly, protected from those who'd use its parts for darker purposes. Just another day in the life of a mechanic who fixed more than just cars. From this story, we learn that trust can be exploited, but thorough preparation and a strong network of allies are key to overcoming betrayal. The core message: don't wait for threats to arrive, build daily layers of protection, for the true predators are those who patiently wait for opportunities. Apply it to your life. Scrutinize relationships, prepare for the unexpected, and remember, real strength lies in safeguarding others from hidden risks.